There I am. How we doing here? Oh, all right. Welcome to Remembering the Bicentennial. I was there. I was in high school as a senior. I found a copy of my senior high school yearbook, and there was hardly any mention of it because my senior year started in 75, graduated in the spring, late spring of 76. And so, the yearbook deadline was in March, but it was kind of, I think in one way, I'm not really sure we were thinking much about it because I can't remember much about 50 years ago, 1976, except that I graduated high school. I started college. So it was an exciting time, but it was also a worrisome time because of how to afford it. Luckily, I got some grants and some financial aid, and I was going to college. And we had a presidential election. I have a journal I mentioned on my channel before, how it was possibly one of the, if not the most important comment I'd ever received from a teacher, where she said my journal that year was the one that she said once in a while along comes a student, understands what a journal is, and this year, you're the one. And that made me feel very good because I never saw myself as excelling in everything or in anything. So I thought back at what occurred to me the other day was what a different world 1976 was. And it was, in one way, it's a lifetime ago because 50 years is a long time. There's so many people that didn't make it to this year, 2026. And there's even, there's fewer people obviously now than then as far as, let me ask something. Alexa, what was the population of the United States in 1976?
The United States had about 217.6 million people in 1976.
200 and whatever it said, 16 million people. Alexa, what's the population of the United States in the last census, 2025 or 6?
The most recent U.S. Census estimate is 341,784,857 people as of July 1, 2025, based on the 2025 Census Bureau estimate. Want to know how much the population has grown since 1976?
Smart. Yes. That way I don't have to do the math.
The U.S. grew by roughly 124 million people since 1976, taking the total from about 217.6 million to 341.8 million. That's around a 57% increase.
So there's over 100 million, 140 million, I think it said, more people today. Alexa, is there a calculation to determine how many people, let's say, that were over 10 years old in 1976 would still be alive today? I'm curious.
Roughly 150 million people who were over 10 in 1976 might still be alive today, based on typical survival estimates. That assumes about 86% were over 10 back then and an 80% survival rate to 2025.
So again, repeat that total number that would likely still be alive today.
About 149.7 million people who were over 10 in 1976 might still be alive today.
Okay, well, so there's over 100 million. How many are coming in tonight to remember, to share a memory? And that's really where this is going tonight, because I don't have many to share. I don't. I try, so I did some searching. But before I review what I found to jar my memory about 1976, let's say hello to the early arrivers here. Yes, Judes, you noticed. How about that? I turned on the red, white, and blue lights tonight. I love it. Hello, D. Dose of stories and philosophy. Yeah, I like that actually. Hey, Garden. Glad you're here. Mark, yes. Thank you, Mark. I was just 5 years old in 76. So I was seven. Yeah, I was 17. I graduated when I was 17. So, so how about that? I guess I'm just a youngster here. Well, a little bit, but I don't expect you to remember much from those years, but we are going to hopefully talk a little bit about it. And D was in junior high. Those are tough years, but so let me read to you to help me jar memory. I've asked Gemini, and I asked, I think, one of the other AI. I think it was Perplexity because it's known to be a kind of research, and it gave it cited sources for it. So I asked it to go back to 1976 and give me the top memories from those who lived during that time about the bicentennial. And what were people thinking and doing and feeling? So it says in 1976, America was deeply weary. I started thinking about some things that 50 years later are almost the same. I think in some ways we're way more weary now and divided. But the country was processing the painful conclusion of the Vietnam War, which was the early 70s. It was like about 1972 or 3 or 4 withdrawal, because what I remember about that is I was approaching the age of being drafted, 18, and didn't really worry or think much about it. But when we ended that war with what did Nixon call it? We ended it with dignity. They dropped the draft because of the huge outcry and just the feeling of how misdirected that war was. We also had the disillusionment of the Watergate scandal, and I remember that being a tremendous level of embarrassment, shame in this country that a sitting president had resigned. Now, looking back 50 years, I just go, really? I mean, it was some illegal stuff going on. We're talking about plumbers breaking in, being sent. They were CIA or whoever. They broke into the Democratic offices in the Watergate Hotel, and Nixon got privied information. I'm just going, now compared to what's happened in the last 50 years and what's going on in the last even 8 to 10 years, this is nothing. And yet the sitting president was resigned. We also had the economic strain of hyperinflation. Yeah, it was a lot. I remember that. When the bicentennial arrived on July 4th, 1976, it became exactly what the collective psyche needed. A massive, I don't even know what this word is, unironic, and deeply unifying sigh of relief. So it really did help bring everybody together. For a few summer days, people stopped looking at the evening news and looked at their own neighborhoods instead. Here's what it felt like to live through that historic summer, captured through the shared memories of those who were there, of which I was one, and many of you may be as well. But, what do we remember? I'll share something, one of my clearest memories here in a little bit. What people were doing, a red, white, and blue blur, this for sure. If it stood still long enough in 76, it got painted like American flag. The sheer scale of community level participation is the single most vivid memory for millions. It truly is. Everything was red, white, and blue. Painting the town, literally, fire hydrants, curbs, park benches, mailbox posts were painted as Minutemen or Stars and Stripes. Neighborhood kids were often given the brushes, creating a nationwide grassroots art project. The bicentennial quarter, as in the coin quarter hunt, Everyone was checking their pocket change. The special quarter, featuring a colonial drummer on the back, and the Eisenhower dollar and Kennedy half dollar with the Independence Hall reversed, were prized keepsakes. I think I have a couple of those still around. Watching the tall ships on the morning of July 4th, millions tuned into their TVs to Operation Sail, an unforgettable international procession of majestic, square-rigged tall ships sailing into New York Harbor past the Statue of Liberty. The Freedom Train, a steam-powered locomotive painted in patriotic colors, toured all 48 contiguous states over 21 months, carrying historic artifacts like Thomas Jefferson's draft of the Declaration of Independence. Families waited in massive mile-long lines just to walk through its display cars. And with that said, I don't remember the Freedom Train, although let me do this real quick. I looked it up a little bit, and let me show you the Freedom Train route. So right here, oops, right here. Oh, what am I sharing here, guys? I think I got rid of it. Dang it. Oh, here it is. Wait, I don't think I have shared the correct. Yeah, I haven't shared the correct one. Hang on, guys. This mouse is driving me nuts. Stop screen share. Go back to share the right page, please. There it is. Here it is. So here was the route of the Freedom Train, which, again, I don't remember it. Now, it might have been because it didn't stop where I lived. I lived in Colorado Springs at the time, which is about right there. Denver is about right there. So the blue was when the train began. This is 1975, this blue route. And it started, it looks like, in Boston on April 1st. And then it traveled the country all through here down to LA, where it celebrated the New Year's at from 75 to 1976. And it would spend a few days in each one of these cities. And then it did the southern route, and it came through Phoenix, which, again, I wasn't living here at the time, down to Houston, Austin, did not stop in Dallas, Lubbock, New Orleans, up and down here, Nashville down to Tampa, and then down here was Miami, and then up all the way through the Northeast here from did it stop in DC? There's DC. Yep, stopped in, well, the DC area was Baltimore, Wilmington, Delaware, Philadelphia, Trenton, New York City, Hartford, and Providence, Rhode Island. Looks like where it ended up at the in November 30th to December 6th or whatever. And the Freedom Train was an ambitious 25,833 mile. Oh, let me do this now, just to give us some. Maybe some of you remember this Freedom Train. Let me just go back to. I just thought this was interesting. Again, I'm learning. You know, again, I don't remember it. Being a senior in high school. Here it is. So, you know, there was the route. And what I found kind of interesting about this was, where is it? Yeah, right here. The American Freedom Train Foundation 250 announced the cancellation of the proposed nationwide tour. Now, that was for this year. They thought about maybe bringing it back. Following initial plans to revive the 1976 Bicentennial experience, the new effort struggled to secure corporate sponsorships and railroad operating agreements, ultimately leading to the project shelving. So this doesn't surprise me, because we're so far past trains, you know, videotape. We're so far past it, and you know, it just was too expensive, and they couldn't secure a sponsor. These are I went down here to say what happened. So what happened? Where is the 76 Freedom Train today? Where's that one? Because they had multiple locomotives, which are I know there's people that know everything about every locomotive, And there were the locomotives that took this around the country, which, by the way, I saw where it was only 2 trains have ever traveled all 48 states, uh, the continental 48 states, and that is the lower 48. And this was one of them. The other one was in the late 30s, I guess. But what happened to it? The famous 76 American Freedom train itself was broken up and the cars sold or repurposed, but its 3 iconic historic locomotives still survive today at a different railroad museums across the country. Locomotive number 1 is in the B&O Railroad Museum in Baltimore, Maryland. Locomotive 4449, the Southern Pacific. This famous locomotive, which pulled the western leg of the tour, is operational, permanently housed in the Oregon Rail Heritage Center in Portland, Oregon. And then locomotive 610, the Texas and Pacific. This engine pulled the train through southern United States and is currently displayed at the Texas State Railroad in Palestine, Texas. Additionally, the B&O Railroad Museum in Baltimore features a dedicated exhibition detailing the historic cross-country journey of the train, which carried over 500 priceless American artifacts. Pretty cool. How many cars were in the train? Consisted of 26 cars. All right. So, and of course it was red, white, and blue. This is the color of it right here. Looks pretty cool. And what's the just occurred to me, the in 2026, what is the new iconic thing? It's the new Air Force One, given to us by Qatar, which was christened on its first flight just the other day. Anyway, yeah. All right, back to a quick summary. What people were thinking: nostalgia versus reality. The collective mindset was a fascinating mix of looking backward to simpler times while trying to find a footing for the future. And boy, that right there couldn't be more true than today. Kind of thinking back nostalgically and really needing to find a footing for the future. And now as a senior, 67 years old, and I think what commonly is felt by many people in their elderly years, the country's gone to hell in a handbasket and we're doomed. I hate to say it, but I don't have the most optimistic. I don't at all. I think that the changes we face now in the world, not just the country, the changes and the challenges of the past, maybe it's always been this way, I don't know, but of those challenges of the past, those divisions things we were divided on, pale in comparison to what's happening today. So there was a craving to nostalgia. There was a massive resurgence of interest in local history, genealogy, and traditional craftsmanship. I don't think that's happening today. Quilting, black powder rifle demonstrations. People were looking for a solid anchor after a turbulent decade. It'd be a nice contrast to look at the turbulent decade of the 60s and 70s versus the 2010 to 2020s. Okay. Critics at the time sighed at the Bicentennial, B-U-Y, commercializationism. There were Bicentennial branded soda cans, lunch boxes, denim jackets, even limited edition red, white, and blue Plymouth Volares. Yet even the commercialism felt cheerful rather than cynical. So as a senior in high school, this was one of the memories I had. It was in our English, some kind of English. It was an English class, writing. It was English writing class, and we were to write a satire, and practice writing satire. And my friend and I partnered up. Dave McKinney, remember him, and we wrote "The Great American Bicentennial, and it was BUY. That was our idea, and here it is being talked about. But it was overly commercialized, and that maybe is why it just cheapened it, as far as my memory. We were celebrating a milestone, 200 years as a country, but everything was about the dollar. And so all I remember is we wrote it up as a television commercial, and we took on in the Colorado Springs area, there was Earl's Used Cars. And Earl was this flamboyant guy. Come on down to the lot, people. I got $250 off this car. He was real flamboyant, and he was always pro America and this, that. And it was Earl's Used Cars. And so, in the spirit of Earl's Used Cars, he ran the biggest promotion, most famous promotion, whatever. It was the Bicentennial. That was what we said. What people were feeling, they were more than anything, the summer of 76 left a sensory and emotional fingerprint on a generation. There was this incredible sense of neighborhood safety and togetherness. Every single block seemed to have a grill going, the radio playing, kids running around in the dark waiting for fireworks. For one day, the cynicism just vanished. Grassroots pride, unlike modern heavily produced spectacles in 76, felt homemade. It was defined by small town parades featuring decorated bicycles, local marching bands, and homemade floats pulled by lawnmowers. An overwhelming sense of relief. It was a rare moment where a deeply divided nation. It's funny that I guess at 17 I felt the division, but not like I mean, we had disagreements. That's what the divisions felt like to me back then. Today, the divisions feel like truly divisions, major ones, based on hatred. I don't want to turn this into that, and I don't want to turn this into a political discussion tonight. I want to be very clear on that. But that's kind of when it says here, it's a very similar thing 50 years later. The overarching feeling wasn't an aggressive, boastful patriotism, but rather a warm, grateful celebration of survival. The country had made it to 200 years against all odds. And I'll just mention now briefly the perplexity. That one was done by, hold on a second here. Yeah. So I asked this one was with cited sources. Most people who write about the 1976 bicentennial remember a mix of big, almost wall-to-wall celebration and a quieter undercurrent of, we've been through a lot, but maybe we're turning the corner. Below is a synthesis of what people say they were thinking, feeling, and doing, which is what I ask it to do around this time. Many Americans remember 76 as unusually patriotic, upbeat on the surface, especially compared with the gloomy early 70s. Personal recollections often describe excitement, fun, and pride, with flags everywhere, parades in small towns, and a sense that something big was happening nationwide at the same time. At the same time, people who also recall that this came right after Vietnam War, the Watergate, energy shocks, inflation, and ongoing civil rights. This was back, by the way, there was the gas, what we call it. Gas went from 25 to 30 cents to like 50, 60, 70 cents because there was the gas embargo, the oil embargo, happened to be with who? Iran. Ongoing civil rights conflicts. So the patriotism had a bit of, we need this feeling. Some later commentators called it a new nostalgia, a yearning for a simpler, more unified America in the middle of social and economic stress. People's memories cluster around a few very concrete things. Attending parades, fireworks, and local festivities. I don't remember any of that, actually, where I was at. I don't know if we did anything. I think we probably barbecued. Many recall huge parades, marching bands, and especially big July 4th fireworks from big city waterfronts to small town high school fields. Watching tall ships, national events on TV. Okay. Visiting traveling exhibits. By the way, we didn't have social media, so you didn't get your news or your pictures or your events covered in real time using these things. It would have been on television. The American Freedom Train was a big deal. A traveling museum of artifacts that went around the country is a vivid memory for many who saw it with school groups or families. And again, I didn't see it. Dressing, decorating, and crafting in red, white, and blue. Yeah, everything was red, white, and blue. People remember home decor. One person recalls a Betsy Ross themed birthday party where kids wore colonial style dresses and even sewed a flag as an activity. I'm going to throw this in here because one thing I'm committing to do is to take a course. Uh, it's a free course. I can't recall where I'm doing. It's online on the Constitution of the United States. Because as much as the whole thing is founded on that, uh, very, very few Americans even understand what the Constitution is about, what it says, and everything else. Um, and I don't think today people, I bet about, I wonder if even kids today know who Betsy Ross was. So another thing is restoring and visiting historic sites. Communities painted fire hydrants like Betsy Ross or Ben Franklin, fixed up old buildings, refurbished town centers. Some recall a surge in joining historical and genealogical societies and looking up family roots. I remember time capsules being a thing. I think there was a time capsule or two that was put away. I'll have to watch maybe the news or see if anyone opened time capsule today. I know at one point when I was teaching, we buried a time capsule. This would have been in the late 80s, maybe early 90s, in the school yard somewhere. I have to look into that. Children and teens at the time often remember it through school activities. I was a senior. I was trying to graduate. I was doing all-nighters. In my journal, which I wrote the night before that got full credit and cited as the best one of the year, I remember writing about the bicentennial, how it was really, I remember writing how commercialized it was. And it left kind of a bad taste in my mouth, to put it mildly. It kind of dampened my enthusiasm and my spirit of celebrating the bicentennial. And but I don't remember the actual celebration. President Ford was the president. And I remember noting in my journal that there was an unknown at the time that within a month or two after I wrote this became the front runner and then the presidential nominee for the Democratic Party, because Ford, and it was Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter. And I ended up voting. It was my first election I was able to vote in. I turned 18 in September and voted in November, and I voted for Jimmy Carter. And I'm proud of that to this day because youthful optimism, and I still think he takes a lot of criticism he doesn't deserve. He was weak foreign policy, but he was super. Well, he wasn't, because he did something that had never been done before, and he brought Egypt and Israel together. An unbelievable, in the Camp David Accords, an unbelievable accomplishment. All right, enough of that. We're not talking politics. You hear me? So everywhere was celebrating, and the feeling that differences in politics, ethnicity, and social class were, at least for a moment, backgrounded by the theme of we're all Americans. And if there's one thing I'm feeling as an old guy in 2026, that's just not a prevailing feeling anymore. Immigrant pride. Some who grew up in immigrant families remember feeling especially proud and welcomed, as if this celebration explicitly included them as real Americans. That's a huge difference, right? Relief and healing. Retrospective accounts connect the bicentennial to a sense of healing after the trauma of Vietnam and Watergate, even if the underlying problems hadn't disappeared. One widely quoted reflection from Gerald Ford, president at the time, described massive crowds turning out, quote, spontaneously to express the love they felt for their country, and frames the bicentennial as a moment when the nation's wounds had healed and Americans regained our pride. Sounds like nationalism. Not everyone was swept up by the mood. Some later historians and writers note that the booming patriotism could also feel like an escape from unresolved issues like racism, sexism, economic inequality, and disillusionment with government. Whew, that how multiplied are each one of those today? But those critiques tend to show up more in later analysis than in many casual personal remembrances. Okay. All right. So it goes into a little bit more detail about the things that were going on culturally at the time. And uh, this is interesting. The celebration was not just a single day, but a multi year effort involving the federal government, states, towns, and private groups. Federal planning and new federalism. The government initially tried to plan a big centralized program, but shifted towards supporting local and private initiatives, partly reflecting 1970s new federalism ideas and pushing responsibility down to the states and communities. Interesting. New media and public broadcasting aired parades, historical documentaries, lectures on democracy, and concerts which help people in different regions share a common experience, even if they never traveled to the big East Coast events. And grassroots and local ownership did their, celebrations with small town pageants to urban ethnic parades and cultural festivals. Looking back, many people frame the bicentennial as a rare moment when a national anniversary really penetrated everyday life into products, clothing, school activities, TV programming, travel, and casual conversation, creating a shared memory for people who were children, teens, and young adults then, of which I was a young budding adult, 17 years old. Anyways, it's a study that's I thought, as we celebrated 250 years. And again, I know we all kind of feel this. We see it. We have, we're in the same boat. We have major problems. I feel as a senior, these problems aren't going away, man. They're going to cause a lot more pain than the problems we were facing 50 years ago. What do you guys think? Let's go to the comments, because you know what? If there's anything about my lives that I've enjoyed the most, it's you guys and what you bring to the table. I'm counting on you bringing something to the table here today. So, hello, Mark. Yes, we'll pick up here. Yes, here's where we did this. Hey, Johnny. Allison, hey, good to see you. Hi, y'all. I got our connection goes through Karen. Are you the person? Yeah. You're funny. You don't know how talented you are. I imagine the United States was more united and said, "Oh, I think Mark, absolutely." And how it becomes reunited, I don't know. I will say this: I did read. I didn't watch. You know what? I didn't watch any festivities of anything yesterday. I was working at where, and I got home I worked till 8:30 last night, July 4th. A lot less fireworks going off in the neighborhood last night. I mean, like stark. Last year, the year before, it started a week to 10 days prior. It was every night for 3-4 hours. And on the 4th, outside, it was like one of the best displays of fireworks I'd ever seen. Had to be tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I live in a downtrodden area. Amazing fireworks, not last night. Hardly any at all. And I attribute that to the economic situation the country's in right now. People did not have the money to spend on fireworks. So yeah, Mark, I think you hit something there. It was definitely, despite our differences with the Vietnam War, the Watergate scandal, the racism that we were working through or having to overcome. I mean, yeah, it was definitely, if you were in this, I mean, yeah, that was a real thing. Still is. But now, yeah, the visions are amazing, amazingly scary. I was in 3rd grade and remember it well. Didn't really understand, but I remember all the adults chatting. Yeah, it was a big deal, right? Yeah, I think I was in the first grade. Summer, thanks for coming in. I was 11 years old, so my memory is somewhat vague. Hey, Summer, I was 17. My memory is almost non-existent. Golly. Lived in a small town. What's I wonder, Summer, what state? Because I it's interesting to know whether it was East Coast, Midwest, or West Coast. Even to this day, there's a different America in each one of those areas. Small town. Small town though is small town. That's kind of interesting. Don't you wouldn't you agree that small town is small town? It's there's a lot of commonality in small town living. We had a parade followed by activities in the park. I dressed up in a long dress like it. Yeah, there you go. That's what is recalled. All I remember it was all the reenactments in the Adirondacks. Dee, when you wrote earlier about that, I remember practicing saying that. I didn't want a replay of last week. Yeah. And you know what? I always thought the reenactments were hokey. I was like, come on, guys, men, grown men out there in there dressed as. But you know what? That's my problem, guys. You can let me have it for that, because reenactment is just one real life touching way. You can touch it, you can see it, you can hear it. What it was kind of like. All the reenactments along Hudson and the Revolutionary War battlefields. Yes. When my kids lived in, my brother still lives in Louisville, Kentucky. There's the biggest cemetery in Louisville, and there's a section in that cemetery, and it ain't a small one, of all the Civil War burials, veterans that are buried there. And I remember they're just very simple, white, probably granite gravestones, and they go. I'm thinking miles, but I could only see the area that I was looking at, hundreds. And that's for the Civil War, not the Revolutionary War, obviously. But if we've, I don't think the human race will ever learn. The only way I can explain war is through evil forces. Like right now, there's a massive genocide taking place in Africa. We only hear of certain genocides. And how can people do that to how can people do it to anyone in the human race? They do it because there's an evil. Forget about the 60s. Let's love one another. It's not happening. Never will. Yeah. Yes. High five to somebody. Trains were very active. Yeah. You know what, Mark? I think they were, especially if you're in the Midwest. I had this. Yeah. I took one train ride as a kid from Lima, Ohio, up to Chicago. We took a little trip up there to see a family member. It was pretty cool. I remember it to this day. Not much, except it was fun. I have this dream or this bucket list, even though I don't believe in bucket lists. Bucket list and something I'd kind of like to do, but whether I do it or not, no big deal. And that is to travel, maybe take Amtrak. Although I've heard some poor. I've done the research. You got to be careful. um, I'd like to do a cross country, maybe from my two iconic places is the Golden Gate Bridge to the um, Statue of Liberty, or whatever. Maybe it'd make more sense to go from Statue of Liberty because westward expansion over to the Golden Gate Bridge. But to look at that, it's not like you hop on a train and just does. Yeah, I got to go here, get off, wait a day, get back on, go to Chicago, spend 2 days, go into whatever. It's like, oh my gosh. But it would be fun, but I'm not going to travel in their coach. I'm too much of a snob. I want my privacy. I want something semi-comfortable. But now I'm thinking realistically taking maybe from there's a real popular route from the West Coast to Denver, something like that, or from Southern California up to Seattle. That's a really beautiful. That sounds kind of cool because I'd see the Oregon coastline, which would be pretty amazing. Yeah, look at this. The next one here. Allison, I want to take a train. You know what, Allison? We should do a What's Up Boomer. You know how people do these cruises, which are fun. We should do maybe a group train ride. Wouldn't that be fun? Now, cross country, I'm telling you, Allison, I've looked into this. It's rather expensive, but what a way to see the country, to feel the country. And that's another thing. Some of these train stations end up in not so nice areas of the cities they go through. But ooh, wouldn't that be something? Amtrak's up. I'm catching up here, guys. You're on it. Yeah, sleeper trains are expensive. There you go. Yeah, Mark, that's what I've found. But it is an experience from what I have seen on YouTube. Something I want to do. Wow, guys, I'm telling you, maybe we have the birth of a little idea where we could do like in cruises. They get these group rates. Maybe we could approach Amtrak. They need the PR. They need some positive publicity, and maybe we could get a deal, guys. This is something. Well, we have to look into that. I've wanted to do that definitely. I think crossing a train line would still take a long time, even on oh it does, and a lot of it is because it's not like you get on it just across the country. It stops, and then sometimes you have to stop and catch a train that comes in 6 hours or 24 hours later. So it takes a lot of planning. That's why I almost well I don't know across the country would be an amazing experience. Um, Maybe we could do to just I think realistically we can look into this. We should do a section of travel where we do. I'll have to see if they offer some kind of group. That would be so much fun. Oh, from Dallas to Chicago. Well, there you go. Now, I'm interested in any part of the country. That's right through the heartland. And see something like that. What if we all jumped on there? We get a group thing. We all have our own rooms, kind of thing, and we just have a party celebrating America. That's a good price, but I would need a room to stretch out and sleep, and I think those are more. Yeah, that's you know what, I think you're absolutely right. But hey, come on, man, we're the boomers. Well, some of you are. We can afford it. We just have to sell a couple shares of stock in GE that we bought 50 years ago. Come on. Hey, Johnny. Well, so did I. Yeah, Oh man, seems like an. You know what, Johnny? I don't remember. As a matter of fact, let me share something with you guys. I just looked at this a couple hours ago. This is embarrassing to me and disappointing. This is my high school yearbook. Our school colors were Home Depot. Well, we were named after a World War II hero. Uh, I can't think of his name. But anyways, it's Billy Mitchell. Yeah, Billy Mitchell. General William Mitchell. We were named after. Now, here's pretty much the extent of the coverage of the Bicentennial in my high school yearbook. Now, I'm gonna explain kind of why. It wasn't celebrated till July, the summer after we graduated, and the deadline was in March. But this was pretty much the coverage of it right here. There's the Marauder. We were the Marauders. And listen to what it says here. Now, I did a yearbook for eighth grade, our junior high, our middle school, and I'm very proud of it, actually. Um, I demanded a lot from the kids. I handpicked them, and they did a tremendous job. It was a high school level. This was pretty much a collection of pictures. Now, look at this. This is interesting. Oh, now this is cool. This little graphic kind of shows the 1870 or whatever this. What's that say? 1876. Oh, to 1976. So it was Colorado's centennial year, and look at that. The Rio Grande Railway. So yeah, references to that. I don't know, maybe the Western, definitely ruggedness of the country. Here's what it says though. This is all it says. Look at that little paragraph written right there. 1975-76 proved to be a meaningful year in many ways. 1976 was distinguished as the exciting anniversary of the nation's bicentennial and Colorado's centennial. During these centennial celebrations, our nation and state dusted off the history books and took another look at the legacy left us by our forefathers. But this is the embarrassing part. Another heritage of equal importance to the Mitchell student. I would not have allowed this as an advisor. Was that left us by the man to whose memory the school was dedicated, General William Mitchell. Now, not to discount this man, this is an American hero. No question. I mean, but there's a time and place for this. And he was a Medal of Honor recipient, etc. But 1976 was about the country's 200th anniversary and Colorado's 100th anniversary. Anyway, I thought that was a little. I did not know. I didn't really don't remember that, but that was and Johnny, I don't remember much of anything really being, except everything was commercialized. I don't know if we had red, white, and blue graduation things or not. In December, we had the Knox Trail reenactment, taking cannons from Fort Ticonderoga in the. Would you quit saying that word, Adirondack? D is putting that in there just because I have a hard time saying Adirondack. Adirondacks. I want to say, hey, it's Adirondacks. Yeah. What are you looking out your window there, D? Oh, a bald eagle. No money to burn. Grill. I'm not sure. If you're referencing the economy of that time, that was us. Yeah. It was an economic, as most of all of my childhood was. It was an economic struggle for my parents, big time. The fireworks are everywhere around me, much more than usual. Is that this year, Jude's? Man, I saw very few here in Phoenix. It's funny, new things I seem to sometimes forget, but 80s rock songs come on. I know every single word to it. Well, since I never really ever learned them then, I don't remember them now, but I know the sound. Yeah. Like and subscribe. That's right. If you're a patriot, if you love America, I'm your channel. Yeah, I know. Adirondack. It's Adirondack. It's not A. It's the Adirondacks. Adirondacks. I'm special. I'm kind of special. You know what I mean? But I still give you kudos. Yeah, I think you did it purposely, D. I know you did. I was in the 6th grade in 76. And by the way, if you're watching, we've got the most people now. Yeah, share your memory of 76, the bicentennial, or your perspective where we're at now at 250 years. Because, every great nation in the history of the world has fallen. Every great one. Imagine that. Can you imagine when the British ruled the world? The Romans? Genghis Khan? I mean, all these, we didn't learn much about that in our country, but there have always been these nations through good or bad means or that wanted to rule the world, that controlled the world. All of them have fallen. I observed the adults who drove pickup trucks would tether flagpoles in the truck and bed and drive around with the large American flag. Yeah, that happens to this day. You know what we call those people? Rednecks. Oh, I shouldn't say that. That's what we did, though. They were rednecks. I would be a redneck if I had a pickup truck. Yes. Uh-huh. Yes. I don't know. Again, I guess you would have had to been there when these comments were being made. Hey, Phil, how are you? Hey, Rhonda, we're having fun. We're talking about the bicentennial, 50 years ago, Rhonda. And I'm catching up on many of these comments, but hopefully there's some people in the room that were there like I was, but remember very little. But do remember it was a big thing. In terms of July 4th, the bicentennial was big. And here we are yesterday celebrating 250 years. And so one of the perspectives I have, having lived now both, because guess what, people? And this is true for most of you, we will not celebrate the 300th year celebration of the United States. And I think it could be argued, as we've looked back at the bicentennial 50 years ago, the division, the challenges that were going on in this country at that time, and how the bicentennial brought everyone together, that here we are 50 years later in a much more serious state of division. And can you imagine, will we make it to 300 years? If you had to put me down to what I think is going to happen, we're going to be a nation divided. We're still going to have a nation, but it's going to look different. It won't be 50 contiguous states. I just don't think so. And again, we're not getting political, just ideas. And all perspectives from me are respected. I hear Amtrak's signature steak is delicious. By the way, back to this. This is maybe the best thing that comes out of this live. Wouldn't it be cool? I will look into this. And some of you, Mark, you and someone else that was Allison, that would like to do a train ride. We should see if they offer a group, like a cruise line offers group rates or whatever, a group thing. And what we can do is we can say we're social media creators and influencers. And if there's one thing Amtrak needs is some positive social media, we would be great at. We would have so much fun, so much good material. I'm up for a party on Amtrak. There we go. Yeah. And I think realistically, guys, we need to pick a what's called a route. I know that, I mean, I'm open to any of them. As a matter of fact, Allison's thing from Dallas to Chicago, what a cool thing. And you know what we could do too, is even if it was a less popular, because I know the West Coast route from Southern California to Seattle is like, people rave about the Zephyr or whatever it is. There's actually a newer one there that does that route. It's beautiful. It like takes a couple days is all, but the stops, I mean, we could plan a party to start it, enjoy it, and a party to end it. It would just be a great time of fellowship and celebrating what I hope we could still celebrate is America and the diversity, and just knowing that when you get people face to face, you know what? I don't care what your religion is, what the color of your skin is, what's your what's the word on there? What's your preference? And we're people, and we can get along. We can actually respect each other. We have a good time with each other. The school colors match your current. Hey, Mark. Mark, maybe it influenced me. I called it the Home Depot High School. We were orange and blue. I can send you a link about the Dallas to Chicago, and then I can be a tour guide in Chicago. Wow. See, Alice, this is starting to take shape, guys. See, I think the advantage of going from Dallas to Chicago, we could negotiate or get probably some great rates. And I'll tell you what interests me about this is I don't think there's many groups looking, let's go from Dallas to Chicago. They want to go from LA or San Diego to Seattle. They want to go from San Francisco to Denver. Those are, and then the East Coast, I would love that. That is just such steeped in American history. But this would be a trip. The experience on Amtrak would be what we're going for, to travel by train, not Amtrak, but to travel by train. Wouldn't that be cool, man? Yeah, these people know each other. They crashed my party. We got coin necklaces for the bicentennial anniversary. Yeah, I think I have some silver dollars, or something for the Bicentennial. But I don't remember either collecting a lot of stuff from the Bicentennial. It was kind of an in a moment thing. We just didn't have the things to document. I mean, if you were going to take a picture, you had to use a Kodak Instamatic, I suppose. There were no such thing as cell phones. Oh, hold on, real quick. Let's intervene here. I asked AI what the technology was. Let's see which one I used. Oh goodness. Okay, we already did that. I'm looking for my question. I asked it about the technology. Should I ask Alexa? Hmm. Well, I know I asked this someplace. Where is it? Let's try. Did I do ChatGPT? Oh, I just asked. Yeah, here it is. Oh, I asked about the top sporting events because Brad, the notorious What's Up Boomer instigator, he did make a comment on the post that I made in the community for the What's Up Boomer channel, the YouTube, about how the Cincinnati Reds won the World Series. I don't remember that, but I obviously was a Reds fan, still am. They swept the Yankees. That might have been one of the greatest events of the bicentennial year, if I may say so myself. There was the 1976 Summer Olympics, big. Bruce Jenner set a world record that year in the decathlon. Nadia Comaneci scored the first ever perfect 10. If you were there, if you lived then, these names, oh, you know exactly. I mean, I remember all of that as I'm prompted, my memory jarred. American skater in the Innsbruck Winter Olympics, Dorothy Hamill captured the nation's heart with gold in figure skating. Wow, yeah. Super Bowl 10. Ugh, that just seems so long ago, right? Played at the Orange Bowl in Miami. The Pittsburgh Steelers won their second consecutive title by defeating the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboy fans probably knew where I was going with that. 21-17. This is interesting. The Boston Celtics defeated the Phoenix Suns in an epic triple overtime game 5 to win the NBA title. The New York Nets The New York Nets defeated the Denver Nuggets. I was a big Nuggets fan. I was in Colorado in the ABA championship before the leagues merged. And guess who was the star player of the Denver Nuggets? David Thompson, the Michael Jordan of his day. I saw David Thompson play. Oh my gosh. An unbelievable superstar from he was from North Carolina too. David Thompson, I think he may have had the greatest vertical leap of anyone ever to play professional basketball. That's amazing, man. And they had the red, white, and blue basketballs. I had one for the ABA. Oh my goodness. And then the Phoenix Suns were in there. I don't think they've probably ever been in the finals again. That might have been the last time. The Bicentennial. Bjorn Borg claimed his first of 5 Wimbledon titles by defeating Eli Nastase. I can't say his name, but he's that Italian guy. And Chris Evert continued her dominance by winning 2 Grand Slam titles. Everybody remembers that. Raymond Floyd won the Masters by tying Jack Nicklaus's 72-hole record of 271, and he won by 8 strokes. And then I said, what about the baseball? I just wanted to check Brad's memory. And yes, the Cincinnati Reds won the 76 World Series, sweeping the Yankees. The Big Red Machine lineup. Remember all these guys. Bench won the most valuable player. I got to see the Reds play when they were, maybe not that year, I don't remember, but we were visiting back home in Ohio and went to a Cincinnati Reds game. All right. It's funny how sports really jar my memory of that time. I am putting the Adirondacks I figured you were. I do. I guess Phil can't see the Eagles. Oh, Eagles? I don't know. No, Summer, I will not do that. At least not tonight. Sage, isn't that weird? School color was purple, now works at FedEx. I see a trend in school colors predicting future employment. Oh my God. Oh, that's something that was mentioned. Apple computers became they start. 1976 was when Apple became a company, and there was something else in 76. I think it was Microsoft. Bill Gates started his company in 1976. This year what? I'm losing it. It's okay, Phil. You can't say Adirondacks. I'll just say it my way. The docks. I would love to. I would have to work for Target. Okay, here we go. Say, oh my gosh. Hey, Mark, this is interesting. So, what company would you have to work for if you had to work for a company with the colors that was your high school colors to match my school color? This is a funny stuff. This is a funny thing. My school colors were green and white. Green and white. Are there any companies that are green and white besides maybe environmental companies? Hey, life as Alan. Alan, yeah, green's hot, humid Houston, Texas. Alan, did you buy that camera yet? I watched that video. I made a comment on it from yesterday or the day before. I have an Alan. Speaking of which, now you are waiting to get the Extra Muse Pro 2. This may be a video coming up soon. I haven't shared this with my audience, Alan, and we've only got 16 people now on this. Here is the Extra Muse. I don't know how I should do this. Extra Muse Art X. Extra Muse, yeah. I got to use this. Cool. I bought it actually last Christmas. The idea I had maybe is to do a upcoming video about the toys we buy as in retirement. And for me, it's tech. I can't wait to use this. And the reason I bought this is because when the tariffs hit, the DJI stuff went through the roof. This is the knockoff. They say it's exactly the same. So, but it wasn't hit by the tariffs. It's an interesting theory. No, we're good. Oh man, what are we good at? Brad. Oh, wait a second. Who's Brad? But I don't think Phil can see that. But that's priceless. What's going on here? Brad is here. Oh my gosh. What can't I see that you are? Wait a second. What is this? Grill Max. $10. Where? Oh, it's coming up. Grill Max. Wait a second. Hold on. Is this someone? Well, anyways, Alan, so glad you're here. We're good. Grill Marks, not Max. Grill Marks. Grill Marks. Jiffy peanut butter. Okay, I am losing it here. Hold on. Wait, D, let me know what's going on. Same heat and humidity. Yeah, Alan. Alan's one of these guys. I think I found him before he found me. And that was probably a year, 2, 3 years ago, Alan, when you kind of came across my deal about. I just loved Alan's style of. He's been in kind of, I think, a reporting, film, news industry, Alan. But the way he put his videos together was just so natural and well. I enjoyed him, Alan. And now between his Taiwan content and the way he uses his camera, it's just so natural. It's pretty cool. Finally comfortable weather in Michigan. It was 90s last week. Today was 78 9. Hey guys, so it hit 110 here today, I believe. Tomorrow I think is supposed to be 110 or 12. I thought about doing a fun video of it because I've heard it's not really true that you could fry an egg on the street or on the sidewalk at 100, whatever. I'm thinking I could do one and figure out a storyline and do that as my next video. We'll see. Tomorrow I had today off and I got tomorrow off. I might do that. Be for fun, right? Fry an egg. Now what I thought was I need to then actually eat it. But here's what I would do. I would fry the stuff on the street, the asphalt, and I'd have an egg in the waiting to make it look though. That's what I'll do. And I'll eat it. You guys will know the truth. What's a good time for people? Also, what are you guys talking about? My school colors were orange and black, so I could work with Phil. Yes, summer, let's go. We'll straighten out these youngsters. Believe me, I have some stories. I like all the young people I work with. They're so cool. But man, one of the videos I have planned that I've put off now for 3 weeks is the things I didn't expect and working at 60 years old. And one of them would be this generation, not gap, this generation difference. Gap as in canyon. What's this? There's Brad. Phoenix Brad. You mean a Trump supporter? For what? Shall I put this in here? I did see a comment he made. I didn't watch it. I get a little tired of what I can't watch this. I do believe that people now coming to this country need to pledge allegiance. As I grew up, that's what we all did. We pledged allegiance to the United States. My school colors were red, white, and blue. I don't believe that. It might be. I bet they were. That's right, D. VH taps in 76 or not yet. Wow, that's a good. Okay, darn it. I actually asked an AI about the technology, and I'm wondering where it went to, because I don't think VHS was 76. No. I'll tell you what was in 76 was the 8-track tapes in our cars for music, and what probably some of the worst technology ever developed. You'd have these 8-track players in your car, and everyone that had them knew they didn't last more than a few hours of playing time, but you knew when they were going, and by the time you heard that sound, your tape was destroyed. It ate it. You push the 8-track in, man, cranking the tunes, and then you hear this. It was just eating it up. There's a picture of using pencil. You'd see a pencil in the track thing. Oh yeah, everybody knew what that was about. Hold on, guys. I got to see if this is because it talked about 1976. That man, we were still in the rotary or push button phone era. Man, it was truly. It reminds me of my grandparents never having a car, that they grew up pretty much in a world without a car. Can you imagine? But now in 76, man, we lived in some what young kids today would consider dinosaur age for sure. Hey, there you go. Brad says Century High School Patriots. All right. You know what? Next thing you'll know is he's going to say that he played with Tom Brady, and he taught Tom Brady everything he knows. Betamax, yes. Betamax was something that was coming along. Guys, I'm irritating myself here because I did ask about the technology. I thought that would be well. Alexa, what was the cutting edge technology in 1976? And speak up.
In 1976, the leading edge was still space exploration. Voyager 1 and 2 were cruising to the outer planets, and the
Mars.
Apollo-Soyuz crewed program wrapped up. At the same time, integrated circuit chips and laser technology were maturing, driving the early microprocessor revolution. Want to learn about other breakthrough technologies from 1976 beyond space and microprocessors?
No, but I'd like to learn more about what technology looked like for people that lived in 1976. Like what kind of phones or computers or televisions? Where was the technology at that time?
In 1976, people were dialing touchtone phones instead of rotary ones. Computers were still hobbyist kits like the Apple I, with a 1 MHz 6502 processor and 8 KB memory, and most families owned color TVs, often paired with the emerging VCRs. Want to know how those early computers and TVs actually worked under the hood?
No, I do remember that in the 1980s, I worked at the Mostec, a company that was producing the fastest chip in the world called the 64K dynamic RAM, Mostec. And they shortly,
That's impressive, Phil. The 64 kb DRAM chips hit the market in the late 1970s,
yeah,
becoming the industry standard by the early 1980s and dropping to about $100 per chip. They were pricey at first, but opened up home computers like the Commodore 64.
I had a Commodore 64. And Japan then improved the technology, flooded the market, and Mostec went out of business. Um, Anyways, that was kind of the thing. Yeah, so Betamax was coming on. Yeah, but 8-track was kind of the deal for that. We still played vinyl records. For those of you who don't know what a vinyl record is, there's a story that I'm about to show you, but I'm not going to divulge what that is at this time. Now, that's a vinyl record. So in 1976, 74, 75, 70s, this is what you played music on, people. I don't know if we have any youngsters in the room or people that will tune in later, but look at this. This is Loretta Lynn. Now, this was a 45. So you had to have a little plug plastic thing that put in there that you could put on a player, that would the needle that would then, anyway, this is a possible future video where I'll take these and we'll listen to we use. Yeah, this is just stuff. This is stuff that is a world we'll never see again, that we lived through. And I got a bunch of them here. So that Loretta Lynn, we've come a long way, baby. This was 1978. 1978. And there was two sides. You got two songs per record. And this was I Can't Feel You Anymore. And this was 1978, MCA Records. So there's your technology, people. This is what we listen to. Forget about your fancy Apple iPads, pods, whatever. Okay, VHS was starting in 77. And I don't know about you guys, we didn't have VHS till the 80s. We couldn't afford it. I had dinner with Nadia and Bart Connor. Oh, wow. Nadia Comaneci. Yeah, Nadia was amazing. Oh, Nadia was that was another one that I saw. Again, I don't know what happened to my notes, but she was the gymnast from, not Russia, was it? Or was it Budapest or Anyway, she got the first 10, recorded 10 in Olympic competition in gymnastics. Now, wait a second. Grill, I'm finally catching up here. Thank you so much. You want to, yeah, Mrs. Bruce Jenner. Yeah. So in 76, Bruce Jenner won the Olympics in the decathlon, man. Crazy. How about that? Yeah, now, yeah, we all know the rest. The rest is history. I remember as a kid having a Showtime box on our TV set, 13 channels, and then tune into channel 14 for the Showtime. It had 7 buttons on it for Showtime plus some other cable channels. Man, that's some technology right there. I became since when or what, you became an instigator? I don't know. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, those who know, you know. 76, we had no clue. Disco and Saturday Night Fever were just around the corner. I never owned a white leisure suit. Neither did I. You know what's really, guys, to be honest, did I ever own a leisure suit? Again, most people have no idea what a leisure suit is, Alan. I don't think I did either, but it seems like everyone that was anybody owned a leisure suit. And to be honest, this is kind of indicative of my life. I've owned one suit in my whole life, and I bought it at Men's Warehouse the year my daughter got married. Because you have to wear a suit to that, right? You're married. And then it was stored here when my parents were alive. And when my mom died, and look, I wore it one time to my daughter's wedding. So like, I mean, you know how I'm attached to things, and it was hanging in the closet, secured, whatever. When my mom died, my dad, who was about in the stage 4 or so dementia, and a neighbor came down the next morning and emptied out all the closet of all her clothes, and that's where it was hanging in that closet, and it disappeared. That's the story of the only suit I ever owned in my life, and I feel bad about it. No VH tapes yet, and 8-track players were going away. Yeah, 8-track had a short-lived life because technology started to advance. Casey Kasem was on radio. Yeah, I remember. And the thing is, people don't understand. If you wanted to hear Casey Kasem in the top 40, you had to be on the radio Saturday morning or whenever it was at the time he was playing the top 40, and he had a whole show about it. Otherwise, you missed it. There was no replay, and no way you could hear it. It was live, basically. Sometimes I watch. Yeah, there you go. That is kind of cool. YouTube, man, you can watch everything on YouTube now. Lucky you. We got 3 channels. That's right. Summer, I only had 3 channels from our antenna on top of the house. 2 of them were fuzzy during the summer. It must have been a humidity. Yes. Super cow. Did he spell that right, people? For teachers like me, Michigan State is green and white. There you go. Yeah, Michigan State. I can tolerate Michigan State, being that I'm an Ohio State fan. Yeah, first computer Apple IIe is in the Smithsonian. I'm vintage now. Yes, you are, Allison. There's Evie. Yeah, good to see you, Evie. We're just having a little fun here, talking about the Bicentennial. If you haven't already, I'm so far behind. You guys are already. Oh, yeah, we're talking about the Bicentennial, 50 years. As a matter of fact, I had a banner for that, guys. There. There we go. I'm basically toward the end of the really big show, and that's what I'd meant to put up there. Good to see you, Evie. I just got the DJI Action 5. Yeah, very cool. Oh well. Okay, so Alan, the Muse. I'll let you know. I bought this in December because it was, of course, the holidays. It was like, I think it was like $300, $349, and I thought, ooh, I'm gonna splurge. And my detractors out there will say, yeah, this is why I'm broke in retirement. I buy stuff like this. I haven't used it. I got to kind of learn. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Had to buy the right, you know, chip or whatever. And then I'm like freaking out about, okay, how do I take the deal here, put it on my computer here? Uh, and a young guy I work with says, look, Phil, you can just you use the app, and you just transfer it from the camera to the app. Yeah, and then I'm thinking I might just use a on the phone editor. I don't know, but I can transfer from here, as you all know. If you have an iPhone and an M4, I literally just push a button and my videos go from here to here. Boom, seconds, and then I can work on the editing program I use. So I'll let you know, Alan, how it goes. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to do something. Maybe I'll do the egg, cook the egg on the street video, have some fun with it. Maybe I'll do that one tomorrow because I'm off. We've been sending. What is going on? This Eagle stuff. What is going on? Brad sent several images, including a happy poo. I don't see it. Maybe it's because I'm using StreamYard and I don't see it. Well, darn, I'm not seeing anything. As a matter of fact, I didn't even see the super chat. Good night. And it disappeared now. Oh, there it is. Yeah, by Grill Marks. Yeah, shoot. Are you a? I'm sorry. I hope Grill Marks saw that I recognized it. I'm embarrassed. I feel bad. You keep the conversation lively. Yeah, he does. You were on our Friday Night Live with Karen. YouTube After 40. Who was? Friday Night Live. Allison? I was? Somebody was. I remember people baking cookies in their cars. Oh my God. Oh, that's funny. Gosh, there you go. There's a series I could do because today was 110. Tomorrow might be 112. And to be honest, people, until it gets to higher triple digits, which in my book is 110 and higher, um, that's kind of tough. That gets warm. You got to be careful. You do have to be careful. I saw a weatherman make cookies on his dashboard. That okay. I just want to have fun. I'm tired of talking serious issues about retirement and my retirement, Social Security. I should go out and buy. Okay, guys, this might be something I do tomorrow if I can do this. I got so much to do. I should try cooking an egg on the street and eating it, but I'll have an egg over here that I cooked in the house. I should go get some, what do they call it? Betty Crocker baked oven cookies and cook it on the dashboard. Cook it on the dashboard of the Maserati. I might have a new business plan here. That would be so cool. Yeah, it's so cool for you guys to come by. I love it. These people are fun people. As a matter of fact, Allison, who I don't think you know this, I made the comment once, just how fun you are a natural. When you were interacting, you made a video with Karen a year ago at the event you all went to. Man, you were entertaining. You didn't even know it. You were just being yourself, and that's what made it so cool. Oh, to go on the train? Yes, guys, we have something going on here. Making a note of it. I'm looking into it. It would be so much fun. Yeah, Alan, I was a videographer. Yes. Now I shoot video for a charter school. Oh man, that's so cool. Hey, Alan, you know what? Maybe we can. You know what? I wouldn't mind doing a video or a live where we talk shop about doing video. And if you guys get a chance, go watch some of Alan's videos where he's talking using his camera. Just some fun stuff. Matter of fact, Alan, you kind of convinced me to consider. I mean, I pretty much just use my iPhone. The extra muse was because of the price, but the DJI, as I think Evie said she has now, I saw you one time reviewing one of the cameras that you have, and how you put it up on a pole, like a light pole. I thought, oh my gosh, I got to get one of those, but I didn't. I didn't. I'm pretty flexible. Okay. Oh, as far as maybe the train, egg fry already done. But okay, Brad, I watched that. Where do you think I thought I should do a real one? Hey, you know what? I might even poke fun of New York City temperatures. Give me a break. We're gonna go to the Phoenix desert where we have some serious. These whiners, they're at 100. I don't know what it is there, but we'll show them what hot is. I saw that though, but he didn't eat it. I'm gonna eat mine with the sleight of hand. Who do you use for AI? Well, Grill. So I mean, I pretty much I like to use. I'm experimenting. I have a subscription for ChatGPT. I really like that one. Matter of fact, I don't like. I'm careful about what I use and how much I use, but I did make the template. Template. I made the thumbnail for this live using a Gemini with Nano Banana. I just said I told her what was on it, and I said use this picture. And what you saw for this deal was Gemini, and it did it like that. At first try, I didn't even make any adjustments to it. I said fine, I'm using it. Yeah. So, but for information, Sometimes I use multiple ones to have them like fact check each other, see what this one says versus this one. Tonight, I read from Gemini, um, Perplexity, because I've heard Perplexity. What I like about it is it will cite its sources where it's getting its information. So I kind of like that. I've played around with Claude. What I want to use Claude for, from what I hear, is but you have to give it access to your files. I want it to take the thousands of digital files that I have and organize them and clean them up, particularly with pictures, and put all my family, all my grandkids together. It supposedly can do that, and it can do it very quickly, like over a day or two, where it might take me the rest of my life. So I'm looking at that for Claude, and of course I like ChatGPT. I still feel good about ChatGPT. We had a guy on about a year ago about ChatGPT, and I got more comfortable saying, you know what, I'm gonna use it for asking it how. And let me say this, because the more I use it, the more comfortable I get with it, but also the more I learn about maybe how to use it appropriately. When I was doing the Whatnot auction and how to do shipping, I didn't have, well, it would have taken me days, if not a few weeks, to figure out like how to use this printer I bought, the Rollo, to print my labels. I'd never used it before. I picked it up at a garage sale, and she said it worked, and that was 3 4 years ago. It's been sitting here, and all of a sudden now I'm doing this auction. I'm getting rid of stuff, but I have to print labels, and took me about 30 minutes of going back and forth with. I used Gemini, I think, on that, and it walked me through how to use this, and it was 100% accurate. I had trouble. It was every problem I had. I said, "Here's what's happening. The label is horizontal instead of vertical. It's not the right size." And it fixed it for me. I fixed it, but it told me how to fix it. And it took like 3 different tries, and it did it. So, anyways, I use pretty much ChatGPT. I've tried Claude. I want to use Claude to do my video organization. Um, I like Perplexity for, I've heard it's just good for search and information. And then Gemini, I heard great things about that. So I've been playing with that too, especially for graphics. CB radio. Oh my, breaker 19. I had a CB radio. Fun stuff. JVC introduced VHS in 76. Wow. Yeah, but yeah, new technology. Brad, do you remember how much that thing cost? I guarantee it was way above my pay grade. As a matter of fact, in 76, I had a job washing dishes at IHOP at $1.85 an hour. CB radios. Yeah, how cool is that? Talking to a guy the other day, I think a lost art, one I would like to pick up is ham radio. Because if stuff happens, that they say that'll be the only way for communication to happen. VH tapes was 80s. Yep. We actually had family time, talked, camped, and played games. Really, yeah. That was the world. I'm trying to think of any games we had back then that I enjoyed that were fun. I think card games, rummy, things like that. Yeah. We were set outside until the streetlights came on. That's right. And then you better get home. It's better now. Oh, no question, man. Technology. I mean, looking back, like I said, 8-track. It's probably as far as the technology that I grew up with, whether it be from the Bell telephones, rotary, that's technology. I think the 8-track tapes was possibly the worst technology ever, but it seemed to be they had to go from vinyl records, which actually were pretty good, to 8-tracks, to then cassettes. I mean, it was a necessary step, I suppose. And guess what, grill marks? There will come a day probably within our lifetimes, for sure, it's happening that quick, that the technology we use today is going to seem like, oh my gosh, the iPhone that you had to do, it's going to be like, Wow, this is archaic stuff. Sent Jules earlier, but Phil was too busy talking. No, you got a star. Where am I missing this? Is it on the screen? Because you know what, I think that might. I don't know what's going on. I don't see anything on my screen. I think it's because of StreamYard. We got to figure this out. I have a technological disadvantage here. That was the chip that powered the Apple IIc and wasn't built to DRAM around those MOSTEC chips. Oh God, this guy. Yeah, I worked in the furnace room and the clean line at MOSTEC in Colorado Springs. They were based in Carrollton, Texas. We sell so many vinyl records at our store. Oh, well, have I got a deal for you? I'm gonna, Allison. I think I'm gonna buy a record player, and I'll do a live or a video and see how, because these are pretty scratched up. But I think the youth of America and the world need to understand how we used to play music and what it sounded like. I've heard there's a revival of people buying round round tables, and listening to music the way we used to and enjoying it and thinking it's more realistic. Phil Cassidy. I can't see any images. What is going on? I am being ripped off. From 33 and 45. These obviously are 45s. And to play it on a 33 recorder, you had to have one of those things inserted in there so it would fit on a 33. Yeah, and you had a little switch. Oh man. There, yeah. It's like everything else, man. It's heavier, it's more bulky, going on whatnot. I will say that there is a connection to whatnot with these. But not soon. One of those records Phil has a connection or memory about. That's another live. Yep, that'll be another live. Brad, I think you're. Hey, we were supposed to be talking about 50 years ago Bicentennial, but now we are an hour and a half in, and I'm tired. I'm ready to. Although I have tomorrow off, which is good. My husband had to wear suits to work every day. Yeah, wow. Like I said, one suit of my life. I'm not sure how the jewels works. Now Phil knows he's got jewels somewhere. Jewels. My jewel. Who stole the family jewels? Somebody's taking my family jewels. I'm not sure. But we have to get to the bottom of this. What are you guys? Where are the jewels? Where's going on here? I see nothing. I'm going to blame StreamYard, even though I love the platform of it. Maybe it'll be on the replay. I can see it. Teaching me how to use my DJI. I'm technically challenged. Awesome. Yeah, we'll have to. You know what, Allison, Alan, probably we'll have to do a live with Alan on this because he's looking at getting the new. He's looking at the Extra Muse Pro, and I think, yeah, for the money, it's probably 100, 200 less. I'll use this if I do my cooking. I'm going to use this and my iPhone, and we'll see how it goes. Me, you. I got to catch up. As a 12-year-old Canadian boy, my only knowledge of American Bicentennial was through Marvel comics and the calendar you could order with Spider-Man marching, the Hulk, and Captain America. How about that? Speaking of which, Rie, I will say this late into this live because I'm going to tell you about disappointment I had about the 250th birthday celebration. Home Depot was the corporate sponsor of FIFA. Big thing. And I mean, since I've worked there, the 4th of July, we've had two big American flags as you walked in the service, the main entrance under the Home Depot. You walk in, there's always been, or most of the time, two full-size American flags blowing in fans in the wind. Month or so ago, they took those down and put up FIFA gold, the soccer goal posts. And we've been through some change with managers and this and that. I don't know if things dropped the ball, but I'm disappointed because the American 250th celebration of America, in my opinion, while FIFA is the biggest thing in the world, biggest tournament, our country's birthday is bigger and more important in my mind than FIFA. Even if I was a soccer player, I'm enjoying the tournament, but I'm also disappointed that we didn't even have an American flag displayed. We sold a lot of little ones. I thought about displaying a couple of them right here, and I didn't. And we had a bunch of America. Here we go, talking about commercialization. We had a big appliance sale, Home Depot's did, and there's a lot of red, white, and blue banners and balloons. Not one American flag. I'm disappointed in that. I think the FIFA could be displayed as we've got FIFA displayed all over the store, buckets, and oh, we do have a white bucket that's 250, but no American. I'm disappointed in that. It irritates me a little bit. Okay, you do that. Oh, I hope we're talking about the train trip, Allison. That would be so cool. Got to exit. Everyone have a good week. All right, Judes. I'm probably sure you're gone, and so glad and grateful you stopped by tonight. Let's do it. Okay, good, Alan. We'll be in touch for sure. Talk about the cameras. We'll have Allison come on, share her experience with her new DJI. Be fun, man. Yeah, Jude. I don't know how long ago this was, but 6:27. About 12 minutes ago. I have an Evie stick. Well, that's better than an ugly stick. It can be. Hey, Jen Jones, late to the party, but better late than never. Jen Jones, do you remember the Bicentennial? Unlike Nike with Claude, just don't do it. No, Claude is. I'm telling you what, Brad. We're going to get together for breakfast this week, but from what I'm thinking, I'm going to take my M1 and I'm going to try to put all the files on a hard drive or whatever, and I'm going to give it full control. I'm going to let Claude go in. This would be an amazing story because, to be honest, the way I get overwhelmed with technology, I don't know if I want to organize all of my pictures that I have digitized over the last many, many years. And I'm really excited when I heard that Claude can do that. Jen Jones is here. Yes. It's called that bad. I tried it for a while, but didn't. Everybody's raving about it. It's kind of like you see a lot of advertising with it. A lot of people are using it because companies are using it to program. I don't know. It's a big deal. For me, though, if it could help me do organization and put everything together, all my pictures over the years, it would be amazing. And why am I doing that? Because then it will be a legacy archive for my kids and the grandkids and their kids. Fantasy baseball and logging my baseball cards. Interesting. Okay. I'm a ham. I'll get you started. Okay, Brad, deal. We'll definitely talk about that. I want to do that. Not that I need one more distraction of getting on the radio some night and talking to somebody in Zimbabwe. I don't know. Me too. No longer active. Another cool thing. We'll start our own group. I think we can do that, right? We could talk to each other. That would be cool. And when the apocalypse happens, we'll still be in touch. 8-track tapes were not new. It was an offshoot of carts that were used in radio and TV. There you go, man. Movement back to vinyl. Jen Jones, I don't know if you saw, I got some vinyl. And I have heard about that over the last few years, people going back to these, real nice players, round tables. And of course, with these are 45s. You had to have that little insert there. And today, I'm sure you could produce them or make them with 3D deals. Turntables. Yes, there you go. Good night. 78. Wow, our player had a choice of 45, 78, and LP. Okay, so the LP was the big one. The 45 were these. And what were 78s? I remember the term. What was a 78? You're coming in about 5 by 9, 73. I don't know. Ham? Is that ham? Phil, your video will be taken down like the Beatles clips you use if you play your vinyl on a record player on YouTube. Yeah, I know. I'm not going to do that. Not going to happen, but you're right. I couldn't do that, could I? Well, what I could do is silence the record and do a voiceover of me singing the record. How about that? No, Claude is the best, but never let any AI have any access. I know. So unless you care about you, I know, because that's the thing that scares me. Once you give it access, it'll start doing things that you not necessarily gave it permission to do. It will do it. But that's why, Brad, I was going to do it. I was going to give it access to my old M1 Mac Mini, and put all, whatever, maybe on my stick drives where I have a bunch of the old pictures, stick it in the M1 and say, okay, go in and get those organized for me and put them whatever. I don't know. Maybe I'll just give it to Brad and say, Brad, take care of this, will you? Yeah. There you go. These guys are talking ham here. Remember the Bicentennial? I was 16. So I was 17, Jen Jones. I was a senior in high school. Yeah, so we were trying to remember. I don't remember much, so we've been talking a little bit about that. Next live. I had a video for you guys, but I let Claude take control of my computer files. Now I've lost. Yep. Oh, long play. Oh, LP. Long play. Long play. Oh, my goodness. 78 played really fast. It was between 45. I know, but oh, so that may be where you could just speed it up. I can't remember exactly. I'd tune in to Phil sing. Yeah, that's right. I'm sure you would. And then you'd be tuning out. Singing will get the video. Yeah. That, you know what, Jen Jones, that probably will get my channel banned, that singing. But remember this. My number one rule of karaoke, and this would be a prerequisite, is the more you drink, the better I sound. True. 6, oh my goodness, I don't remember that, Ryan, but there could have been. Maybe that's the real high tech, the real high end stuff way back when. Had the highest quality. There we go. I was the repeater programmer for our local 2-meter station. I used to climb up the 500-foot tower. Wow, there's some there's some stories for you. Hey man, see, these two guys are talking ham radio stuff. We don't get it. All right, I have caught up. I'm tired. Is there anything else? I just got to say this. 16 with the lowest quality for spoken words. There's a plethora of information in this group of older people that remembers the past. Yeah. You know what I did? I had a collection of vinyl. My goodness. Now, if I gave them to a guy who was an acquaintance, but he was a friend. He was an aficionado of vinyl records, and he liked to display them. And, I had all of them in the original, covers and the artwork, and I just knew he really appreciated it. I don't regret it because I know he appreciated it. So I gave him, I didn't have a ton of them, but probably they were heavy. There had to be over 50 to 75 originals. I gave them to him. Now I look at them and go, oh my gosh, people are buying them because, as Jen Jones says, there's a resurgence of interest in these vinyl records. Any more due to medical issues? Will gummies do? You can do whatever you want. Just remember, if it helps you relax in any way, I'll sound better. Yes, grill marks. What a night. that we let go of. Yeah. And you know, I'm trying to, I'm in the process now of letting go because slowly, and I'm finding that using the Whatnot app might be a little too slow. So I think I need to try to do the stuff that works with that app, online auction, get rid of it, and then garage sale once things cool down next fall, and then purge. Chief engineer, how about that? How fun. Well, oh my goodness. Well, I want to say this as we wrap it up. Yeah, so Mark has still, actually, I do some, I do too. Uh, my neighbor who passed away a year or so ago had probably hundreds of VHS tapes. I used to think, what a waste of money. He collected them from everywhere, and now I think, oh man, he offered me them at one point. So take what you want. I'm not taking this junk, believe it or not. I should have. I could be selling those now big time. But you know, I will end with this. As far as from 50 years ago, the bicentennial to now 250 years old, I'm not optimistic. Part of it's possibly my age, but I'll tell you what I'm most, what's the word? The most concerning thing to me is the people under 40, let alone 30, and then even in people in their 20s. um, they don't have an understanding of the history, not only primarily this country, but also the history of other countries that have implemented some of the policies we're headed towards. There's pros and cons to both of those things, but ultimately, even for all of the downsides of, say, capitalism and free enterprise and those kinds of things, we don't want to end up. I'd rather deal with those problems that a democratic or a republic country has with greed and those kinds of things, where the downtrodden, you know, I'd rather deal with that and work through that than deal with the socialistic policies, even communistic or Marxist policies that are found in those countries coming to this country. Don't think it's going to work. So that's where I'm at with that. And I end it with that kind of a thought. Hey, Ryan. Oh, well, D, I'm not even going to put your comment on the deal. That's still good in the D's good 50 years later. Okay. That's good. Yeah, Ryan, I think you actually, yeah. I wish I came across my cassettes. We live in a supercalifragilisticexpialidocious country. And now, final question, trivia. Where does the phrase supercalifragilisticexpialidocious come from? Don't say it. No, I know it's not what you said. It's what you want me to say. Guys, final question of the test for the night. Yeah. Where does the phrase supercalifragilisticexpialidocious? See, I can say that. I can't say Adirondacks. No, I don't think so, Ryan. No. There it is. Johnny knows. Mary Poppins. Maybe it was both. No. What? It was Mary Poppins. Yes, it was Mary Poppins. How about that? Yes, thank you, Jen Jones. And thank you all else for trying. And you know what? In the movie it was a musical. So even at whatever age I was, you know, I don't know, 8 years old, you could say that. That would have been almost 60 years ago. I can still say it to this day. I don't remember the song, but that's how you remembered it. It was, repeated as a song. Yeah. Well, guys, I appreciate y'all being here. I'm going to call tonight. I'm off tomorrow, so I might two things tonight. I'm going to look into doing some kind of a train ride for the What's Up Boomer community. It would be fun. Jump on. Maybe we have a 4 or 5 day trip, a 2 or 3 day train ride. Have a little welcome party at the beginning, and a little celebration at the end. Make videos, talk about train travel, seeing the country at the pace of a train. I think that would be a lot of fun. We'll see. And my next video, I've got like 2 or 3 in all outlined, but I think maybe I'll throw together the egg and the baking cookies on the dashboard of the Maserati tomorrow. Yes. And with that, I'm going to end the live, and I'm going to try to figure out what all the hullabaloo was tonight about these. I missed the Eagles, the poop. But happy birthday. I'll count you out. Oh, darn it. I guess we're talking about the train ride. No, this is going to be fun, Ryan. We talked about it. We might do the Dallas to Chicago, or we could, I really like the San Francisco to Denver or the Southern California to Seattle one. Those are really cool. All right, guys, let's see if I can end this with a bang. Hold on. Let's end with a little music we start with.